Hi again. I just wanted to show you some of the things that I've been working on and some thoughts that I had, and I thought I'd kind of go through my thinking process. So one of the things I wanted to do was to create a look. I love the look of this screen or grid printed pattern paper. This one's from Cosmo Cricut. It's apron strings from Early Bird, and I love this, and I thought, well, I have this great stamp with that same motif on it from Hero Arts. This is called Modern Lines. It's one of their design block backgrounds. And I thought, well, you know, I could probably recreate that look and make it any shape I wanted. So what I started doing was I started playing with inks and stuff first. So my first thought was, ooh, I want to do it white with some black. And I did that, and it turned out okay. It doesn't stand out as much. So then I went to an avocado, the ripe avocado ink, and stamped it over the top. And that's okay, I like it. But then what I decided on was I took that ripe avocado again and did fresh snow palette ink over the top. Pretty subtle, but then I thought, ooh, I love the flowers. And I'm using this paper tray ink set, Beautiful Bloom. And I decided to start making some flowers with that more defined pattern. So that's what I'm going to show you real quick today, is how to do a kissing thing, where you kiss the two stamps together and then stamp the image. So I have my flower here on my block, and I'm going to use some raw sienna palette. And I'm just going to ink that up really good. And then I'm just going to ink a small corner of this pattern up. This was probably the busier pattern spot that had the most print on it that I liked the best, that I wanted to show up on the flower. And then what you do is, keeping it level, you just go ahead and kiss the two stamps together, press down and lift up, and there is the grid mark put into the flower. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp that. And you can see I have this really cool grid mark pushed in there. So think about the possibilities of doing a damask in there, polka dots. There's all sorts of possibilities with doing this. Steps to save you from having to watch me do everything to make this card. So when I started doing it, I wanted to use an orangey yellow, so I ended up using raw sienna. And then I started flipping through my paper stash, and I thought, ooh, this is great. I love this. This is a new paper from the Cosmo Cricut 6x6 pad Earth Love. And I thought, ooh, well, isn't this going to look nice? So that's kind of where I'm at. And then I also cut the flowers out, and I added a button and a little bit of twine, and I thought I'd save the last one to show you what I do. I have a foam mounting circle. I go through these more than my regular adhesive almost. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some twine, some paper tray rustic white twine, and I'm going to tie a bow on this 4-hole button. When I have 4-hole buttons, I start by going down 1 hole and then put the twine down the opposite and diagonal hole. And then I'll pull it through, and then I'll go back up the other side. Go ahead and just slide that up through there. And slide this side. The nice thing about this twine is, let's say I didn't want it to be white, I could take one of my Copic markers and I could color it any color I wanted. I just take the wide end, the chisel end of my sketch, and just run it down, and it takes the color beautifully. Okay, so now I have my button all ready to go, and you know what? This isn't going to be fun to tie if I don't get a little more. Now you can see I got some fuzzies. So what I usually do when I get the fuzzies, because that's kind of what happens with the twine, I just take my little scissors and cut them away. And I want to tie a bow, but to make it easier on myself, I need a surface to do it on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a glue dot on the back of this button to attach it to the flower. And I'm actually going to use 2. And I touch the button to my glue dot, and I'm going to get one on the other side because the twine is pretty thick. I don't want it to fall off. And I'm going to set my button on there. And so now, so I have a good surface to tie on, I'm going to mount this flower about right there. Let's let it sit off the edge a little bit. And I'm going to tie my bow. I don't know how to tie bows right. I make 2 bunny ears and loop them through each other. Everyone likes to give me a bad time that I don't know how to tie my shoes, but they stay tied, so it works just fine. That's the discussion we're having. Who's going to teach Ethan how to tie his shoes? Alright, so I got my little bow and I have my long ends, and I usually trim just right the outside of the edge of the bow. And I think that looks pretty good. I might make it just a little smaller. Trim just a little bit more. There we go. Shabby's really hot right now. It's really popular. That look is really the rage. So I'm going to show you a couple things that I do to make things shabby. Show you some of the easier ways that I do them. I'm going to take my yellow pattern paper here and I'm going to distress the edges. And what I use is my Making Memories, my CKU distressing tool. I love this one. The paper fits in there nicely, so I just take and I drag it along the edge. You can see you get little tears, but that's okay. That's part of what you're doing. Because everything is so muted and soft, I want to make it a little bit shabbier. So I'm going to take some ink. And I love my Colorbox chalk ink pads. This is creamy brown. This has to be my favorite. I'm going to take my stylus tool with the foam tip. This isn't the black foam tip for molding now. This is a white foam tip, and you can see how much I use it. And I just put it in the ink, and I just go ahead and I push it down into the edges. And I did stamp from Vintage Picnic from Paper Trace, this Vintage Picnic Sentiments. I stamped it Take Care. I love those little stamps. They fit in little spots where you need them. And yeah, that's looking pretty good, but you can't have a card without some ribbon. So I pulled out some brown twine. I thought it would look really nice. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie that around the card. Now, I'm going to foam mount this whole front panel, so I've already put the foam on it. And you can see I use the leftovers from my foam circles. I cut those and put those in pieces on the back. And I made sure that I had my spot to be able to tie my twill tape. Let's see how this looks. I think what I'll do is I'll do that end. Yeah, I like that. I think I'll cut in right about there. Oh, that looks good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and peel. Okay, I'm going to futz a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we have our card. We used our new kissing technique with the grid, which I'm really happy to get that look. And we got a nice shabby card.